Cue the pelicans. Now that is a lovely welcome to the beach if I've ever seen one. Okay, beach friends, today we are going to be exploring Sanibel Island and a couple of different rack lines. We're going to be zigging and zagging, and we're probably going to find a couple of real fun things to check out. We're going to say hi to a couple of critters too. You know how I feel about those critters. I just love my beach and all the things we get to find. So if you're ready, let's go to the beach. Okay, here we are bright and early on Sanibel. The sun is not up yet, and I'm not alone. Regardless of what time I get to the beach this time of year, I'm always going to have company. Yep. So we're here nice and early. It is a rather low tide. I didn't bring the headlamp. I didn't want to come here quite that early, but I definitely wanted to catch this low tide and get here early. So let's see what the beach is going to leave for us today to check out. All right, we're going to start off with a zigzag arc, also known as a turkey wing. I'm not a real formal kind of gal, so I tend to kind of go with the informal names of things. So that is another turkey wing, although much more beat up than that first specimen. Oh, pretty. Same colors as a turkey wing, but this is a juvenile Florida fighting conch. The juveniles have the prettiest colors. Well, actually, the adults do too. I'm just going to say they're different kind of pretty because I like them all. And that is a colorful moon snail. Actually, real pretty delicate pattern on it. So that is a colorful moon snail. Oh, well, hi, beautiful. Doesn't it look like a spider? Well, that is aptly known as a spider crab. And they're pretty, kind of covered with goo. Yep, so that is a live and well spider crab. I didn't really want to monkey around with it. Let's do a check-in. Okay, there's the tide, like I said, nice and low, negative 0.63 right now. It's 61 degrees, so it is just fine. I can tolerate these kind of temperatures. Well, hi there, shark eye. Now, what I thought was unusual about this one is the way that the discoloration is going along right with the shell pattern. So that is discolored a little bit, but kind of cool. And here we have another one of the shells that I tend to go gaga over. This is a Florida fighting conch, but it's a juvenile Florida fighting conch, so they have really gorgeous patterns. Look at the stripes here and here of the gorgeous shell. I know, I can't help it, just love these shells. Here we have a turkey wing. Is it full? Yes. Okay, another nice looking zigzag arc. Pretty turkey wing, very intact. So those will always be that brown and white color. Always, always, always. That is a broken apple murex. Womp womp. Oh, and beautiful Florida fighting. Yeah, of course. So that is a juvenile Florida fighting conch. There, look at the little eyeballs. Oh, look how cute. So that's alive and well with a pretty little splash of purple and just a super pretty shell, but it is not for us to take. That has to stay at the beach. And here is a short-spined sea urchin. I do like collecting these as well. Although I learned my lesson, I try to collect the ones that don't have any guts. I like the ones that are a little bit more dry because the ones that have guts are smelly and really hard to clean. So this is another lightning whelk that also is discolored a little bit, which is just weird and just in that spot. So it's not like it's the whole shell, just in certain areas. That is another lightning whelk. That's a little juvenile friend. Not too zigzaggy. That's where they get their name. This looks like it has zigzags on it. Oh, aptly timed zigzag arc here. So that again is a turkey wing. That's actually a really nice turkey wing. Not beat up at all. You can really see all the individual little stripes on it. And here is an awesome shark eye with a blue dot. So that's Paul Newman shark eye. It's a little beat up, but the size is really good. For the most part, it's in good shape. Beautiful shark eye. Here's another pretty color kind of sticking out. So that is a bay scallop. And once you kind of get a better look at it, it's not perfect. Real pretty color though, but probably going to leave that for somebody else. And so the water is a little bit cloudy, and with it being overcast, I'm not going to have much luck in the water. But I did bring my scoop. So the scoop is really good if you don't want to get wet. It's not so cold. I don't mind on a day like today. But if you didn't want to, or the shells are kind of hard to kind of pick out of the surf, just kind of flip that scooper up like that, dip it into the surf, pull out a pile of shells, dump it onto the beach, and then kind of see what you got. So it is a different kind of treasure hunting. Looks like in this scoop I managed to find a nutmeg. It's an okay shape. It's missing its little pointy top. That's all right. And that's what it looks like when you see a pile like that. All right, managed to get an apple murex. Is it a keeper? Yep, it's empty. Oh, dang, it's got a little hole. That's okay. So I like to keep it moving, just kind of explore and check out, really kind of basically cover as much beach as I possibly can. Here's another apple murex. Oh, but this one is alive. So that's its little operculum kind of sticking on the end of the critter there. That brown, that blackish dot there. So that creature is alive. I know the tide is coming in, so I'm just going to set that critter there. Lovely, lovely orange calico scallop. Really pretty. Yeah, Sanibel does have the best scallops, in my opinion. And another gorgeous, oh man. All right, so that is another really pretty one of those juvenile fighting conchs. Oh, look at the pat. I mean, it's just beautiful. Yeah, buddy, you got a really pretty shell. And check out that orange stripe there. Really, really cool. Sometimes it's hard, but not yet. It's not collectible yet. So there was a little bit of action going on here, and you had this pelican, and then in the background I kind of see some other pelicans, and I really wanted to show you when they get their food, they usually kind of scope out the area. Once they see what they're going to find, they dive down, and it's really cool, but that one apparently didn't see anything, so he's just going to do a nice water landing. He's not going to do that diving action, but there was something in the water because there were lots of creatures, and I'll show you as they pop up. We'll be sure to say hi. And this is a prickly cockle, actually a particularly lovely one. Really nice color, nice and prickly. Whoop, almost dropped it. It's a very nice prickly cockle. All right, a little bit of a rack line. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, cool. A Florida fighting conch, and I flipped it so fast I wanted you to see that pattern. I thought that was really pretty. And then your usual cast of characters is here, but let's see. Let's kind of get a closer look so you can kind of see what's here. All right, here is another one of those urchins. That fella is alive, or gal. We'll leave it there. A lightning whelk. It's a little bit broken, so we'll leave it. Your ponderous arc. Oh, he's going to find those. And then, of course, your usual. All right, that's not terribly usual. That's variable worm snail. Or variable worm shell, I should say. Although it is little worms that make that shell. Just kind of weird and cool. So it's just your usual stuff down there by the water. And so I decided, all right, here's another rack line of stuff. What's up here? All right, we got some pen shells. So those are those dark things you'll see in the background. I don't always pay attention to them, but that is what they are. So when you kind of see that in the background, that is what is there once you kind of get a closer look. Of course, you're going to, not of course, but generally you're going to have your giant Atlantic cockles. Oh, there's some nice urchins here. Okay, so that's a keeper because it's empty. Yep, in my book, that is perfect. I had gone out and I had found, I don't remember, a lot of urchins, and I just picked them all up. And when I got home, I was cleaning them for hours. So now I just go for those. The ones that are already kind of dried up and empty. I know I feel bad almost saying it because I can be picky since I go to the beach so much. But by all means, if it's got its guts and stuff, you want to keep it. Oh, look here. So that's Aristotle's lantern. See that little white piece that's kind of stuck in there. So I did see this on a different day. This is Aristotle's lantern looking from the top down. So this is that part of the urchin. It is just so symmetrical. It really just kind of blows my mind at how amazing nature really can be. So I'm just kind of going through these, going to keep the dry ones, or at least a couple of the dry ones. I'm not going to go too crazy. And then the ones that have a little more guts and stuff on the inside, I'm going to go ahead and leave that at the beach. Maybe it'll dry up a little bit for somebody else to collect. So I'll pick up a couple of those and see what other kind of goodies are here. An operculum. All right, so I suspect this is an operculum from a lightning whelk. So that's a little trap door. That's in really great shape. I'm going to collect that. More beach stuff, more urchins, the giant Atlantic cockles. And every now and then you'll see a treasure. Now, when you see the sand kind of mixed in with the shells, you know that someone else has kind of been through that area. But I would say go look anyway. You really don't know what other people are collecting. And hey, maybe they missed something. So don't get discouraged. By all means, you go, you check out, see what kind of goodies you decide to keep. There is no right or wrong way to do collecting. All right, so that one's on the border. That's kind of dry and it's really pretty. So I'm going to make an exception for that one. What about this one? Dry. All right, fantastic. What other goodies? And then soon we're going to start seeing some of the egg casings on the beach. So I'll be sure to show you that when the little baby snails start being born. That'll be soon. Here's a little one. So that is a little horse conch. And since I dug it up out of the sand and it's packed full of sand, yes, I know that is a keeper. No little critters or crabs stuck in there. Awesome. Great color. I know it's little, but really nice shell. Oh, juvenile. And I'm going to be really careful. Make sure there's nobody home. That is another pretty little fighting conch. Still just kind of scanning. Seeing if anything super special sticks out at me. There's always something to check out. Let's see if there's anything particularly unusual or beautiful. Back near the water, found this really pretty, again, juvenile, cool cross on there. So it's a juvenile fighting conch. Kind of an unusual shaped one. Yet another thing to admire. And yeah, it's not going to have much luck shelling in the water. But since that was so white, I was able to kind of spy it, but actually shelling in the water today isn't going to be much of a possibility, which is fine. I'm finding stuff kind of close to the water in this first rack line here. The more fresh stuff. Anything good? Couple slippers. That's a pretty scallop. A little bit of green. Nothing that a little bleach won't take care of. All right, I'm going to go back up here just in case, because you never know. And that's what just makes it so much fun, because you just don't know. You have no idea what's going to be there. No idea what kind of fun things you're going to be able to find. Now, a lot of the times there is the usual cast of characters, I like to say. But again, sometimes something really unusual will just kind of poke out. So that's what makes it so much more fun. It's that hunt, the anticipation and not knowing what's going to be there. And it's different every time. I see a particularly beautiful one. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make an exception for that too. Okay, so here's one of the pen shells. I want to show you there's a couple different types of pen shells. So this one is called a sawtooth pen shell. So that's one of them. They get to be about 9 inches. I mean, they get really, really huge. And this is another one of the varieties we have. This is called a stiff pen shell. So the surface of the shell is a little bit different. And here we have yet another one. And this one is called a half-naked pen shell. So those are the three most ubiquitous pen shells that we have here. And been doing a lot of hunting. I think it's time to go for a little walk. All right, it looks like I've stumbled upon a bunch of those giant Atlantic cockles. These are also known as heart cockles because when you hold them like so, it kind of looks like a heart. Now, the scientific name for the cockles is cardioidae, which refers to the heart, much like cardio does. So the scientific name refers to the heart shape. Another fun fact, and that right there is another fun fighting conch. Although it's a little bit beat up. A whole bunch of colors. You got green, you got purple, some brown. Oh yeah, some of your more giant Atlantic cockles. So some of these species do tend to kind of hang out together, so it would seem, and every once in a while you're going to get a whole bunch of the same type of shell. So lots and lots of cockles. I see some of the prickly cockles. Oh, an orange is sticking out. All right, we have a orange calico scallop. They're usually pink or purple, so I'm a big fan of the orange ones. A little bit more unusual. Whoa, that's really pink. Okay, so that is an apple murex that just has a weird pink color. And actually that live apple murex also had that weird pink color. All right, looks like I decided to scoop, or at least I took my hand and I scooped. And if you're going to do this, kind of do it over the sand, because if you do this over the water and you drop your prize, no bueno. You're going to be looking again. And it looks like that this apple murex was kind of sucking on this this other shell, so I wasn't really quite sure what was going on, other than it was alive and I wasn't going to be able to take it, and that is just fine. All right, is this another one I cannot take? I'm checking really good, especially since it's so pretty. I just assume it is alive, but it's not. That's actually a keeper. Oh, and it's just gorgeous. Awesome juvenile fighting conch. And there's a slipper snail. It happened to be one of the bigger and more flatter ones that I've seen. Kind of looks like a little boat, and yes, it does float. If you get that on some kind of still water, that will float. So that's kind of a cool slipper snail. Oh dear. Well, and there's that weird pink color again. So that is a banded tulip that is quite beat up. A couple barnacles, very pink. All right, I saw a particular shell. I think it might even be a juvenile Florida fighting conch, and I really, really want it. So I'm going to fight with this water for a little while. Let's see if I'm victorious. All right, so a little message for myself from the beach. I was victorious, but the bad news is there was a critter in it. So all that work just to say hi, which is fine. There's little eyeballs. So I did see something quite lovely, and that's another shell that we cannot keep. And that's okay. There's plenty of other ones. So just kind of meandering. It's kind of a pretty overcast day. Do another little check-in. All right, tide is coming in, still 61, which doesn't surprise me. The sun isn't out, so it's probably going to be one of the cooler days down here. Another real pretty orange calico scallop. Awesome. And another murex, just kind of literally washed up at my feet, but this one is alive. So that is not a keeper. Oh, I see a horse conch, and that is also alive. So not a keeper, but I did get that real pretty orange calico scallop. Woohoo! All right, yet another murex. Now there is a murex called a pitted murex. I don't think I've ever found one. This one just reminded me of it because it was so beat up in kind of the right way, but that was an apple murex. And these two are also fighting conchs. And just another reason, I've shown this before, but just for you new people, this guy on the left, that's just your regular old Florida fighting conch. The one on the right is called knobless because it doesn't have that row of knobs on it. So another one of the cool things with these shells, not just the colors and the patterns, but sometimes the actual variations of the way that the shell is created. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about where I parked and just it's parking on Sanibel in general. So here is Sanibel, that is a lighthouse, and that is Bowman's, just to kind of level set, give you an idea about the island. Now, this is a parking map. You can download this. I will put a link in the description below. You are going to be able to download this, and this is what's really kind of going to give us the information. So I am parked here. This is over on Gulfside City Park over at Algiers. So that's where I am now. And it is one of only 5 public parking lots on Sanibel. So there's only 5 places that you can park publicly. Here at Lighthouse, here where I am at Gulfside City Park, over here at the Trost parking lot, here at Bowman's, and over there on Blind Pass. And that's it. So that is all you get. Bowman's has the largest parking lot of them all. The Lighthouse is probably the most popular one. So it's really hard to get parking there unless you get there early. All the parking on Sanibel is $5 an hour. And then I bought a parking pass that allows me to park in those areas there. And it also allows me to park at no charge because I bought the pass over at Blind Pass. So these are some of the areas I'm going to kind of venture out into. I'm going to be spending more time over there. But just to let you know, you got 5 places to choose from to park on Sanibel. It's going to be $5 an hour. Bowman's is the biggest lot. So just to give you a little bit of information about parking, if you happen to be coming here and spending some time in Southwest Florida. So I'm still on the hunt and the tide is coming in, so I'm kind of hoping it'll push things onto the beach. That's what I always kind of describe it as. Yeah, it can wash things back into the water, but I like to look at it on the positive side. Like, look at here. We have a hinged yellow prickly cockle. So that was pushed in by the tide. Pretty cool. I like those shells anyway because of their color, and you don't usually find them hinged. So that was kind of cool. Look at the cutest little urchin. So that little fella or gal is alive. And so I'm going to put it down a little bit closer to the water. Tide's coming in. It'll be fine. Now here's another one of our feathered beach friends down here. This is a snowy egret. And what I wanted to show you is they have this beautiful plumage. He's going to look at his little head. Oh, so pretty. Like it almost looks like feathery. Oh, just really, really beautiful. So that is one of our little snowy egrets doing a little show for us. And this is when I thought there was, kind of a feeding frenzy going on here. So I guess all the pelicans texted each other and said, hey, there's a bunch of fish here. So they went a little bit wild. And so the birds that you're seeing here most of these are the brown, actually all of them are brown pelicans. And they're one of Florida's largest birds. They have a wingspan that can go up to 7 feet. It's huge. And the birds typically, they dive for fish. So they go up kind of like we saw before. They kind of check out. Then they'll do a dive and they'll kind of scoop the stuff up in their bill. They usually kind of hang out on the beach, but more likely kind of on sandbars and places that are away from people on the mangrove and the coastal islands. So those are some of our very fun other feathered friends that we get to see down here as we enjoy the beach. And one other thing I just wanted to quickly mention, I am typically out on the beach for hours. And so I cut down all the little shots that I take to make a nice video. I don't want you to think that I show up at the beach and just start picking up things because it doesn't really work like that. I edit it, so there's not a lot of quote unquote downtime. Here is a lightning walk that's a little bit beat up. But I do, believe me, I spend lots of time here. And that's why I get to see so many different critters and creatures because I do spend a lot of time when I'm down at the beach. Now, here we see bottlenose dolphins. And I was super excited because I have not seen these guys for months. Now, the bottlenose dolphin usually eats a wide variety of food, including crustaceans, fish, squid, and each adult dolphin can eat between 15 and 30 pounds of food a day. So they eat a lot. So that's probably what they're doing right now, really kind of hustling for their food. They don't chew their food. They kind of just grab it and swallow it. So they are carnivores for sure. The common bottlenose dolphins can grow up to 13 feet long. They can also weigh up to 1,300 pounds. And these bottlenose dolphins can also live between 40 and 60 years. Oh, so cool. Speaking of cool, look at that. That is an alphabet cone. I know it's a little broken, but these are still really fabulous shells to find. So I'm still happy with that. Even though it's broken, I can hold it, just kind of so, and it'll be just fine. So I'm going to hold on to that delightful alphabet cone. And here is another cone. And guess what? It cleans up so good. Way better than the one we just picked up, believe it or not. So hang around to the very, very end. I'm going to show you that. And we also have a little Florida cone. It's a little beat up, but that alphabet cone, very cool. So there's another shot. Not able to do much in the water, much to my chagrin, because that is my favorite place. But between the clouds and the lack of sunlight, it's really tough to kind of see what's going on there. So I've been spending most of my time up on the beach, which is just fine. Saying hi to a bunch of critters, finding a couple of shells, like this guy. And this is a seraph, and they're always going to be this shape. Sometimes the colors vary a little bit. They're going to be brown and white. It's going to have those little bumpy beaded texture to it. And then that is another juvenile fighting conch of the orange variety. Very nice, bright, pretty shell. There's always something to check out. To be fair, it's usually much more fun after a really big storm, but it's not so bad when you kind of slow down and take your time to go through things. And I saw this little message, and I'm going to have to agree. I think 2022 is going to be an awesome year. So let's hear it for 2022. So this is what the parking kiosk will look like when you go to those parking stations. You'll see it is $5 an hour. You pay here, you put a little ticket on your dashboard. And if you happen to come to this particular parking area, it does have some nice signage, kind of gives you a heads up on some of the birds you may see, some of the fun things you may find on the beach. And it also has a covered pavilion, just in case you're here in the summer and you're wondering whether or not you can have your peanut butter and jelly in shade. Yes, you can. And it also has outdoor showers, water fountain, and facilities. So that is going to wrap up our time here on the beach. It was fun. I was here a while, and I did manage to find a couple of fun things. So let's take a look. Those are the urchins I decided to keep. I have only a little bit more cleaning to do because I was selective in the urchins I kept. I did get some of those fighting conchs, some of those cockles. We got some of those real pretty scallops. Can't resist if you're over in Sanibel. Got a couple of those turkey wings. I got one apple murex, one slipper, some real nice juvenile fighting conchs. I got that colorful moon snail, the nutmeg, and then those are my favorites. The lightning whelk, the horse conch, the 2 moon snails, the alphabet cones, and that one juvenile that I could keep. Now, let's take a look at that alphabet cone. Ta-da! So that is soaked in 100% bleach and all that stuff picked off. That's it. So that red stuff is not a stain, or at least it's not too much of a stain that the bleach won't come out. Well, all in all, I'm going to say that it was a successful trip to the beach, and I want to give a big shout out to my Patreons who monetarily support me. So thank you so very much. And I'm going to use some of those funds to go on a trip next week with Real Kind. And I'm going to an island called Shell Island. So it's going to be pretty awesome. Hope you have a fantastic week. I'll see you again next Sunday.